The following stream contains mature content and subject matter. Viewer discretion is advised. Chicago. Ask someone to picture the city, and they will have trouble coming up with a concise description. When people think of New York City, they think of skyscrapers, subways, and muggers. When they think of Los Angeles, they think of sun, smog, and traffic. When they think of Detroit, they think of cars, factories, and decay. But for those of us that know, there's only one thing we think of when someone mentions Chicago: vampires. And tonight, we tell their story. Good evening and welcome to McStabber Studios' Windy City After Dark. I am the storyteller, Shanky McStabber.
And I am Mama McStabber in Twitch chat. You can find me on socials at Relendare. And I am playing Jacqueline Duron of Clan Ventru.
Hi, I'm Mischievous Red, and I'll be playing Isabella Caputo of Clan Toreador.
Good evening. I am the Ivy Raven, and I play Genevieve Schutz of Clan Gangrel.
I'm Irian, and I play Roscoe Acres, Clan Tremere.
Hi, I am Brad, Timber Brad 411 in chat, and you can find me on Twitter. And I'll be playing Nicholas Bowens of Clan Nagata.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Gray, and today I will be playing Antoine de la Cour and Nosferatu.
Welcome to Season 8, everybody. We are back. And a lot of things happened last season, along with the departure of one of the Coterie members, though he may be physically gone. I don't think he's gone in their hearts yet. We'll see how long that takes. But where we're starting off tonight is actually a few days after Lamar has left. Not much time has passed since we were last streaming this. And with Lamar gone, there was a few days where the Coterie had to deal with some of the after effects of Lamar leaving. In particular, some people got new ghouls assigned to them, new helpers, a new haven. I believe Isabella had a bottle of liquor to drink. Whether she drank it yet or not, I don't know yet. We'll find out. But where we start tonight, the Coterie is regathered at the club to have a talk, because not everything that happened last episode was actually talked to amongst each other. They still have things to share that Lamar's departure kind of made difficult. So we're going to open up with you all gathered in the club, and I turn this over to the players.
Well, I know our last meeting got cut short. So, if there are other matters that we need to deal with, please.
I mean, I did receive a scalp. Need to figure out what we're going to do about that.
Do we know that it was Braden?
Very evidently, Brayden.
It needs to be reported.
Would you like me to do that solo?
Well, it depends. Who are you going to report it to?
Don't know.
I would suggest Sovereign. Braden was under Sovereign's protection.
Was.
A lot of good it did him.
I mean, he, to be fair, did leave Sovereign's protection. He was supposed to be under mine.
Indeed, but do you know if he actually left?
No, I don't.
Exactly. You knew he was planning on it, but he never showed up at your place.
I was figuring on going to Sovereign at some point anyway to ask him about it. The timing of it, it's just too odd. The second he agrees to leave Sovereign's place, Amelia makes a move.
Mm-hmm.
Something doesn't seem right about that.
I agree. It is very suspicious.
I figured since Sovereign and Braden had dealings that we'd already talked about potentially me taking over if Braden fucked up. Maybe that'd be a way of...
No, please, I'm sorry. I just had an idea.
Figured that'd be a way of getting closer and interacting with Sovereign more. Seeing if I get any information. But what was your idea, Jackie?
It was along those same lines because it is very suspicious to me that it would happen at that moment. And I've always been suspicious of why Alan offered him hospitality. You see, hospitality amongst Ventrue is one of our highest principles. Even if we are enemies with a fellow Ventrue, if they come to us and ask for hospitality, we provide it. And that hospitality doesn't just include, a haven. It includes protection. So the fact that he offered that to Braden, who is a La Sombra, is very suspicious.
I had always thought that was because they were in business together. I mean, you do value money as well, but we're all in business with Ventrue, and we don't have that same luxury.
Exactly. It is a privileged offer. It really is. So either he owed Braden something, or he's tied to someone who wanted to make sure they knew where Braden is.
Braden didn't seem in the right state of mind for people to really owe him favors at that point.
Exactly.
It seemed like he was more self-interested.
Exactly. So I am personally inclined to think it is the latter. As much as I hate to think that one of my, well, for lack of a better term, cousins is dealing with certain other sects, I have known it to happen from time to time. And I would love to find out whatever information you can get from him.
Of course.
Because if we have someone, a high-ranking official in the city, working for the enemy, that needs to cease.
I mean, as much as we can do about it anyway.
I just
We
report it
have-
up.
I guess what I was thinking more is that's also a question of whose side Jackson's on at this point, given that he's flat out told us that he agrees to a war with the Anarchs for selfish reasons.
I know.
Fair.
I know. Anarchs. I'm going to be very real with you. Especially the ones around this city are really not that big of a threat. The biggest threat among the Anarchs is Keisha herself. But if Sovereign is working with people like Amelia DiCarlo, possibly even Tally, we have a big problem. How would Tally get in this city under the radar? Well, he had a seneschal in his pocket. That's mighty convenient. So, I agree. I think it is a good idea to report it to Sovereign. Didn't you talk to him about Braden's interests at my event?
Yes, that's what I was saying.
Mhm.
That I think that'd be
Yeah, that's a
great
good
way
in
to
for you.
Continue the relationship.
Yeah, that's a good in for you. Just be careful. I do not doubt that Sovereign is a highly intelligent man.
He's already working with Amelia, then I'm already a target.
Well, of course. But just be careful. I, unfortunately, only know what I consider bare minimum about Alan. Because I find him just... He makes... If it would be possible, my stomach would turn in his presence. Something about him is just off.
Maybe we should look more into his background. Well,
Perhaps. Let me know if I can assist in any way.
I will. Thank you, Jackie.
Of course.
It's maybe not the best security, as it were, but if you want, I could send Evan with you. If something were to happen to him and you, not, I would burn the city to the ground for any of you, but if something happens to Evan, then they have to deal with another individual.
Yes, the
my
Prince
pay
of
grade.
Mexico City.
So, I mean, I was just thinking, because if this is a potential, like, walking into the, bad situation, while I have some prior commitments, I was just thinking I could lend you Evan for the evening. He's not so bad. He's a good, he knows how to be a good boy. So, but that's your choice. I'm not going to tell you yes or no. So
I highly recommend it. He may have information on Sovereign as well, being that he actually belongs to Fiorenza.
I think that'd be a great idea, actually.
wait, I'll let him know that he gets to chaperone you tonight. Or when are you going? Is it tonight or sorry?
I need to see when he's available, but I'll let you know.
Of course. Just let me know whenever it is. I will make sure Evan is available for you. So
Thank you.
Roscoe, you look honestly distressed a little.
I am just a bit. I was supposed to have had a fun evening out the other day, meeting Sun Chi at the old tea shop. I did end up having a date, but not exactly with who I thought I would be. It was Victor that showed up with his friends. Apparently, he has Sun Chi. He had, she rather ill-advisedly visited me at the shop once, and he was, of course, watching. So they tracked her down and caught her, and they have her and are holding her. They're waiting for the pontifices from all around to come and converge here in Chicago. So they don't really have a fixed schedule on when it may, or what's going to pass for a trial, when that's going to happen. But I'm sure it's going to be soon. I had all the documents you'd prepared for me, and Victor just looked at them and said, "Guess you're not." Essentially saying you're not going to need to give her those. But she is still alive for the moment.
Good. I now know what I will use my favor that Victor owes me for.
Oh, really?
He will now owe the one I got those documents from. If he wants to be an ass, I will pay him in kind.
Damn. I thought we were going to make him eat his own face as
well,
for the boon.
he owes favors to all of us.
Oh, I thought it was just for the
Yes.
group as a whole. If he
Oh,
owes
no,
everybody
no,
one,
no.
then shit, I'm gonna
That's not
ask
how
him
this
to-
works.
Oh, okay. Then I'm gonna find a really tall building. I'm gonna ask him to go up there, bend over, and I get one shot, and we'll see what happens.
And if he tries to claim that's how it works, oh, no, 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 no. Then I go to the Keeper of Elysia and let him know that the Warlock is trying to shirk his fucking negotiations. And ruin his reputation. But yes, okay, well, I am very sorry that has happened. It was foolhardy of her to come to your shop.
It was. I mean, it was expected.
You were already a target for investigation, so it was bound to happen if she showed up there. Do not worry about the documents, just destroy them.
You don't think you could reuse them for someone else?
No.
Or okay.
Just destroy them. I actually was only joking about doing that to him about the favors. But yeah, because I don't mind owing that person for documents. Yes, well, it would be interesting having all the pontifices in the city.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder how Kevin's going to feel about that.
I wonder if he knows.
Not our
If
problem.
he doesn't, that's almost more telling.
Not our problem. That's going to
True.
have to be something he takes up with his warlock.
And then Victor is sufficiently arrogant that he probably feels like he didn't even need to bother telling the prince that they were coming.
Yeah. We can hope. I don't believe he is actually incompetent, though.
No, I think he projects that. Or
He projects to be less than what he is. He projects to be a meathead. But
Right.
he is actually not incompetent.
no, he wouldn't have lived this long.
Exact. Or reached the heights he has reached, if
Right.
he were. Not within the Tremere.
He is arrogant, though.
He is elegant. But he feels that he has reason to be arrogant.
I was going to say, I definitely feel he projects arrogant prick more than anything.
Yeah.
There's a knock at the door.
Yes.
Etienne pokes his head in. Ma'am, there's an Antoine here to see you.
Thank you. Take him to one of the secure suites on the second floor.
Yes, ma'am. Etienne steps out of the room.
That is the Nosferatu that Cedric has me and us by proxy working with, about the Natuku. That is also my son.
Your biological son? Or
Yes.
Hmm.
I got confirmation of who his sire was, and it was the supposed friend that I had had an agreement with to watch over him while I was not in country.
Does he know?
He seems to somewhat recognize me, but he hasn't placed it yet. So this conversation will probably be very awkward.
Well, if you need us.
I can always stand in a corner, unseen, and just if he wants to act up, just. I know you're very capable of handling yourself. You showed that with Nicholas, but sometimes it's different when it's your own.
I will tell you something.
I could also.
I thought my son dead since the 1940s. He was embraced into a clan that is notorious for clan before sect. And even before clan is brood. While he might have been, when he lived, my biological son, my everything, he has been turned into something different, and I do not know what that is yet. I am not going in there sentimental. I am honestly very angry. I was betrayed by his sire.
Guess we're adding his sire to the list.
Well, we shall see. I've sent a request to his sire to transfer Antoine from working with Wanaka to being assigned to Cedric instead, because I trust Cedric would actually protect him. So we shall see what his sire responds. He doesn't know Jacqueline Duran. Is Colette Laurent, the one he fucked over.
If I knew you, you'll make your wrath known at some point.
Oh, absolutely.
When the time is right.
When the time is right. You know how I am. I am not impulsive about it. I take my time, plot it out. So. But let me go meet with him. I don't want to keep him waiting too long.
So Jackie steps out, and we'll come back to the coterie in a few minutes to see what you're doing. But Jackie, Etienne is waiting outside the other conference room. Ma'am, he's in there.
Thank you.
And he opens the door for you and then stays outside the room, guarding the door, as always when Jackie's meeting with someone he doesn't know.
And Jackie walks into the room. The door closes behind her. Mr. Delacour.
Oh, bonsoir, dear Jacqueline Durand.
It is a pleasure. Please, make yourself comfortable. And she sits down.
And the room you're in, it's fashionably decorated. It's not full of antiques, but it is definitely decorated in a way that it shows wealth without flaunting wealth. It is one of their conference rooms that they've set up.
It's a private suite, basically.
Yes.
Yeah. This room is secure. Conversations are very private in these rooms.
Perfect, perfect.
Is there something you wish to discuss with me this evening?
Yes. You know the lead about the south side, about the house,
Mm-hmm.
the south house. Unfortunately, it was a dead end. We didn't find anything there.
There was in the house beside it an opening into the sewers. I believe they are utilizing that. Or at least they were at the time. They obviously were going back and forth. one of my associates was able to get a sense of what was happening in that place. And it was going on over time. So they were catching their victims, bringing them there, torturing them, and skinning them. But their best way to go about that, being what they are, of course, is to do it under the ground.
Take them to the undercity.
Or through the sewers.
The problem is, it's not easy to follow.
I understand.
And I will be watching you really straight in the eyes. You seem troubled. And apparently you've been asking about me.
Of course I have. I like to know who I'm working with.
If you do have any questions, I'm an open book. You do have to understand that some secrets I will not be able to reveal. My clan is kind of secretive.
We are all secretive. We are kindred. Do you know why I look familiar to you?
I've been asking myself the same thing since we met. There is something I cannot place it. I know how to place it. You look really familiar because you look like somebody of my former family, but it's not possible. This person died a long time ago. So I cannot...
You believe she died in 1914. She actually died in 1912.
How do you know the date?
I died in 1912. In 1914, I left Paris and moved to New Orleans. My death was faked, and I took on a new identity. Henri, I am your mother.
No. No. C'est pas possible. I will stand up and start walking. No. He didn't. He told me she was dead. He told me she was dead.
Well, technically, I was. But he was not supposed to do that to you.
Do what to me?
Embrace you.
This is...
Andre and I had a deal. We had an agreement. You see, when we got word that Archduke Ferdinand was assassinated, we knew what was coming. Andre and I had an agreement that he would watch over you, only watch over you, while I was out of country. With the explicit agreement that he not allow you to become embraced. And then he did it himself.
He didn't have the choice.
What? There's always a choice.
There is. But at At that moment, the choice was mine, and mine only. But let me ask you something. One last thing, because I need to be sure before we go on like this. If you are who you say you are, you will be able to answer this question.
All right.
But I hope the question will be right. When I was a kid, there was something I liked to do. I was singing, dancing around her. A monument, I will say an artifact we had in our home. One that you received from one of your clients. What was the name of the artifact that was dressing like a person?
Madame Odette. She still resides in my home and appears as you dressed her the last time. I've had to repair that bird for a few times over the many years. But I keep her in my bedchamber so that when I lie down near dawn, it is the last thing I see. When I awake at dusk, it is the first thing I see.
Coterie, I think I need to speak with my sire.
Well, maybe he will make a trip soon because I have already sent a request to him under my current identity. That you be transferred to Cedric instead of Waneka. Cedric will protect you. Waneka will not.
Don't be too hard on him. I think I think he thought what he did was right at the moment. I did ask him to. You remember the first bombing in Paris?
Yes.
I was taken from the Germans at this moment. At that time, I was one of the chemists I was working for the French army. As a chemist, I was trying to find cures and poisons to use in the war. Poisons and cures that we used in the First World War.
Yes.
I was taken by the Germans, and quickly they made us work on the new type of products, new type of poisons. André saved me. He took me away from there, but was a little too late. One of the poisons took me. One of the poisons was killing me. So he asked me to make a choice. I knew what was the price. I met Andre a few times before that. And I made a choice. At the moment, because I wanted to discover more things, discover the poison that was used against me, that was going to be used in the in the war. My scientific head was still in place, and yeah, I still wanted to discover things. So I made a choice. I had nobody left. You were gone. The other members of my family were gone. I even almost married. She was gone as well. So I wanted to have a new family.
I returned to Paris right after the war ended, when it was safe to do so. You and Andre both were kept from me. All I found was your grave. I hope you enjoy the family you have, because they ensured in doing what Andre did, and then how they hid you from me. That I will never be friends with those Parisian Nosferatu again.
You hid yourself from me.
You were alive and I was turned into a monster. You know why I had to do that. You are now a monster. You know why. Because any enemies I make would come after you. You were always the most important thing to me, Henri. Always. Everything I ever did was for you.
I've been to New Orleans and saw your grave there.
Indeed.
I tried to go there on your birthdays and lay a single rose on the top of it. I lost when you were gone. I was grown up, yeah, but you were my mother, and when I lost you, I lost a piece of myself. And when the rest were gone, the only thing what was left was the army, my studies. I became great. I am great.
Of course you are.
This
You are
patch
always my brilliant boy.
pavements put in front of me to my studies and to everything. They brought me where I am now. If it can reassure you, I'm really not that bad in all that, in everything I learned.
I know. For years, Andre wrote me letters and sent me photographs of you. Up until, I imagine, when you were captured, because I had no idea. And unfortunately, it was not safe for me to come and investigate. So I had to wait. And by the time I did, I found your grave, my sister's grave, my children's grave, my entire family wiped out. Everything I had ever loved. You are not the only one who has dealt with loss. We all have our tales of grief.
You will see a single tear of blood coming down and... What now?
You are Nosferatu. I do not think less of you because you are. You will find I am an unusual venture in that I work with a lot of Nosferatu. I understand the power of Clan Nosferatu. I do not think you less. But I understand your conditioning. I understand your clan is more important than all else. I do not expect any different. Colette Laurent and her son, Henri, are dead. Now we are but monsters.
I'll approach Jackie, really softly, slowly. And I will open my arms and I level to her and I will say, let's make a proper goodbye then.
She stands and gives him a hug and a kiss on both cheeks.
Advienne que pourra.
And she,
We'll see.
She lightly strokes your face.
And I will take your chin. I was like, you still are a rose. You know that?
Yes.
I will have to go back, I think. Now,
I understand. If I happen to hear of anything else about the Nituku, I will let you know. I have grave
Same.
concerns about them.
same. I will need to gather some people. I think we need to check the sewers.
Yes. They were definitely traversing. But thank you, Antoine. And perhaps if we get to know each other now as monsters, maybe we will become friends.
Like I said, advienne que pourra.
Etienne will see you out.
I
And
do wish you a good evening.
with this information you've been given tonight, as Etienne opens the door, you realize you vaguely recognize him. He was not just seen with your mother before her death, but you have seen him in the courts of Europe before. You're not sure why, but he stopped appearing. Let me see you out, sir.
Merci, Etienne.
If you'll follow me. And he turns and leads out. And we're going to stop that scene here and flash over to the Coterie as they're gathering in the room after Jackie left. As you're gathered in there. I got a message to send.
No offense, Roscoe. This will probably sound cold, but considering none of us, hearts don't beat and all that, is your friend Sun-Chi worth rescuing? I would not typically say let's fight the power, as it were, but
Well,
Victor's a dick.
Oh, he's an arrogant, sadistic dick. Part of what he described he wanted to do to her now that he had her and as part of the sentence was to kill her. And if he could, kill her again. And again. And again. And again. All because, I suppose we live by, the sons, the sins of the sire are visited upon the child. Apparently Sun-Chi's sire is the one who brought down the downfall of the Tremere in Vienna. And they take that pretty badly for some reason.
It's the sacrificial lamb.
That explains why they would want her dead then, if the rumors I've heard are true. Why now? Okay, that makes a lot of things make sense now, actually. If they're if the Tremere as a whole are upset at your friend, then I would assume they're also the ones setting her up. Or am I completely wrong on that?
Well, no, you're not wrong. It's just that their plan is to completely extirpate the entire line.
Yeah, no. You said she acts like she's possessed, I believe, but she can't be possessed. So
Right.
I'm saying, who's to say the Tremere aren't doing that also to make her an easy target?
That's a good point. That's a really good point.
I mean, they could easily just say, "Fuck this bitch" and kill her, but they could also turn the entire city, domain, everybody against her, as it were, by making up a story that she is.
That's a really good idea. I mean, that would make a tremendous amount of sense, considering.
Even if they weren't directly causing that, if people would make it seem that they were causing that, I mean, I imagine doing something like that to another kindred would be seen as quite problematic. Imagine there's some rule that it breaks.
I don't think they really care. As long as it serves whatever ends they want, they can do whatever they feel.
And unfortunately, this also sets a rather dangerous precedent in the city where they can just come in and declare their own blood hunts, as it were, and strong arm the prince into following through.
I don't know how this is appropriate to this particular conversation, but I just had a thought come through my head. It's the splinter stalks a thief, trailing blood in its wake. I mean, it seems to be one of those things that just comes to me from time to time now. Does that make sense to anybody?
No.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. I was never good at riddles.
yeah.
So
Well, me neither. But
Say it again. The splinter stalks the thief.
yeah, the splinter stalks a thief, trailing blood in its wake.
Yeah.
Perhaps following a trail to a source.
Hmm.
Is there like any particular context where this message comes up? It's just there.
No, this was just totally out of the blue. But since the last time, I guess it's just something that's going to happen from time to time.
sorry. Say it one more time.
The splinter stalks a thief, trailing blood in its wake.
I mean, Splinter could be an offshoot of a group or something, but like, who's the thief?
Right.
And again, this is what makes me think it's following the trail to see where the splinter came from.
I feel like we would need to know where the trail starts, though, kind of going back to Jenny's point. What's
Mhm.
the thief?
Right. I mean, like I said, I have no clue as to what this means, but it probably does.
Perhaps once Jacqueline gets done with her meeting, she may have
I might cast some
insight.
information on that.
You're checking to see if you have anything on that, Jenny?
Yeah, just thinking. I roused, failed that. So
Yeah. Even with 5, there's so many things a splinter could be that you're not quite sure how that would relate. You're missing
Is there-
something important, Jack, in that, in your searching through your occult knowledge. You're missing something important. There's a lack of information to fully figure out what's going on with that.
Is there anything that I would be able to think about using my occult?
I will let you roll intelligence occult. It's going to take a lot because, like I said, there's missing pieces of information you all don't have. But I will always let you roll intelligence occult. Never fault the players to roll when they wish. We'll see how you get. A 5 is pretty good. You going to willpower that?
Sure.
5 without a crit so far. Let's see what you get. 6. 6 is enough without a crit for me to tell you something about it nags at your brain, but you can't quite put your finger on what it was. It's something that you've looked at recently that nags at the edge of your brain, but you're not sure why.
Something I've looked at recently.
We should
Have
keep
you
track of
appraised
these.
any
Someone.
artifacts recently that this may
What were you saying, Isabella?
Oh, I was saying that I think that we might want to like. This phrasing seems very intentional and important, and this is
Mhm.
happened multiple times. We should probably make sure to keep a record of it, like in the group chat, just so we can always go back to it.
Yeah.
At that, Jackie returns to the room.
Okay, Jackie steps back in the room.
And she sits down.
is everything well.
Everything is well. He knows I am his mother. he was deceived as well.
So then definitely a sire being added to the list.
Oh, absolutely. He tried to say that it was his choice, he asked for it, but I guarantee Andre probably arranged the situation so that he would.
Manipulating, so that would be the choice that he made.
Exactly. Or manipulating the situation he was in that led to
Well-
that.
What was your relationship with Andre that made you trust him so much?
I had actually first met Andre when I was a little girl. My sister and I, one day walking home from school, you see, that day was a stressful day for me. It was exam day, and I had, well, now they would have called it a learning disability. I had challenges with reading, and the pressure of exams was very stressful for me, so I was not able to eat my lunch that day. So I still had my lunch in a pail as my sister and I were walking home from school. And as we walked by the bakery, I saw a young rat that looked honestly emaciated, running towards the garbage that was in the alley between the bakery and the next building over. And I knew that the baker poisoned his garbage to kill rats. I went into the alley, whistled at the rat. It turned and looked at me, and I sat down across the alley and opened up my lunch and started breaking my lunch into pieces for him so that he could eat it. Came over to me, ate the lunch, and once he had gotten to his fill, he allowed me to pick it up, and I put him in my pail and brought him home. I was going to take care of him, feed him, make sure he was healthy before I released him again. I couldn't have been more than 7. I showed it to my mother, and my mother freaked out. She told me what was I doing bringing a nasty rat into the house, that my father would have a fit. That I had to get rid of it. And so, I wanted to get rid of it far away from our neighborhood because of the baker that poisoned his garbage. Didn't want the little rat to eat poison and die. My sister and I walked to the nearest entrance to the catacombs under the palace to release him there. And when I released him, I heard a man's voice say, "You would do a kindness to the most vulnerable child." My sister was terrified. She started running. I was not. I said yes, always. And he just said that is good. And I didn't see the man. He was in shadows. But I heard his voice. And some years later, when my circumstances changed, occasionally I would notice a certain rat following me. And whenever I seemed to be in danger, it seemed like something would spook off the perpetrators. I later found out after I embraced it was Andre, the sire of my son. For 2 years, he and I became friends. Then when I had to leave the country, I asked him if he would be willing to watch my son. Try to prevent harm for him if he could, but under no circumstances was he to be embraced by anyone. There was some negotiation, of course, but he agreed. And then he betrayed me. He took a while, I'll give him that. But he also embraced my son and then never told him that I was also kindred. And when I returned to Paris after the war to try to find what happened to my son, the entire clan Nosferatu in Paris kept them both from me. Hid them so I wouldn't be aware. So yes, his sire has added to the list.
That dude sounds like a fucking dick. Adding more proof to my belief that all men are shit, except for you, Roscoe. You seem perfectly fine.
I see Nicholas doesn't get a pass.
No.
We've
I don't.
known each other too long to get a pass these days.
But yes, all is well between Antoine and myself. We have agreed that who we were is not who we are now. And who we are now are practically strangers, and we need to get to know each other and see if we can be friendly. But he is also very upset with his sire over this.
It seems sires not being entirely honest with their child is a theme.
Of course. As I told
When you think,
please.
just gonna say, when you think about it, we were all so young compared to them, so trusting. Think they had our best interests at heart. Now we know that's not so simple.
That is true. And we all know, the older we get, the more secrets we keep.
Yeah, but that's because you have to keep some money off the books. So, look, that's just business 101. Come on.
Yes.
For Jenny, it's the money kept off the books. For some of us, it's the skeleton still in the closet.
No, I thought yours were all out of the closet, darling.
Oh, no.
He likes to sit in the closet because it makes it so he can kind of pin him against the wall, you know?
In the closet, under the bed, on the bed, I'm sure, too.
I heard he's got one attached to a ceiling fan. So,
Oh, thank you all. I needed that laugh. Oh.
Matthew made me take the one off of the ceiling fan.
oh. What a killjoy.
But that was quite the fight.
Oh, so what did I miss?
Roscoe has a riddle for us.
A riddle?
Oh, indeed. Yeah. I had another one of those thoughts that just came to mind. It seemed completely at 90 degrees to whatever conversation we were having at the moment, but it must be significant somehow. The voice in my head said, the splinter stalks a thief, trailing blood in its wake. No, it doesn't
When
seem
did
to
you
make
hear this?
This is while you were in talking to Antoine.
Splinter stalks the thief, leaving a
Right.
trail of blood.
I will say we were talking about Sun-Chi and Victor's
Mhm.
very punchable face. So I don't know if there's any correlation there.
Or perhaps is whatever resides in Sun-Chi's head the splinter.
Yeah, it seemed pretty much completely out of context. So
Yeah,
we're
but didn't you
all-
say that one, that weird Tremere with the fucking tongue thing? Didn't you say that supposedly he was the one that stole shit and sold it to Dr. Benway?
I do not recall that.
That's what you said Benway told you. That he got it from that.
I'm totally not remembering that.
That's okay.
I feel like there's so many instances of
But
thieves in
that's
the city.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I know when Eleanor had her visions and such, it's hard to place in the moment what it is referring to, especially when there's not a whole picture.
Mhm.
When it's only bits and pieces. After the fact, you recognize, oh, that's what that was. But after the fact doesn't help you any because the shit's already happened and you couldn't stop it. But
Mhm.
perhaps you'll get another that will fill it in more. Because it's too nebulous. It's too esoteric right now. Because it could be a number of things. There's a number of thieves in this city. There's a number of,
A
people
huge number.
wanting to kill them. I mean, it's...
I feel it's important to keep all aspects of the riddle in mind: the splinter, the thief, and the trail.
Yeah.
Right. They're all
By
significant in some way.
focusing on one, we may neglect to pay attention to the others.
Well, if you happen to notice any blood trails, let us know.
I have a potential. I don't know. It just seems odd that you get a message about it. Technically, I stole Izzy's face. There's a trail of blood following Amelia, who splintered off from the other Lasombra.
It is possible.
I don't see why you'd get a message like that, though.
No.
Like I'm pulling at straws, making it about me.
Well, there are some of our clan known to invite spirits into their bodies. Perhaps that is comparable to a splinter.
Storyteller, I'm going to turn on Oblivion Sight.
Okay. As you activate Oblivion Sight, what little shadows there were in the room are gone.
And I'm just going to look around.
You don't see anything out of the ordinary in this particular room.
I'm going to step out of the room.
Okay.
And I'm going to look around in the club.
Okay. And so Jackie leaves the room to walk around in the club.
And you saw her eyes go black.
When Jackie opens up the door, though, the gap in the Faraday cage allows a signal to briefly come through. And Isabella, you get a text on your phone. You recognize the number. It's Sovereign. And it's a pretty simple message. I would like to talk. Where can we meet? And as you decide on that, Jackie, you walk around the club. I mean, there's spirits here because, I mean, this is your first time using it in your club, but you'd assume there's always some spirits.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing that looks out of the ordinary, nothing.
That looks solid.
No.
Okay.
No. Now, remember, your club is dark.
Yes.
Generally, you don't have it brightly lit.
Yeah, no.
So there's a number of shadows that just about anything could technically be in.
She'll walk
even though
a little
you see
closer
through the
to him.
shadows.
She'll walk a little closer to him to get a better look.
And as you walk around, it seems you're
Just normal.
normal to you.
Okay. And she'll go back into the room, and once she goes back into the room, she'll take off the Oblivion sight.
But I'm going to let you
Oh.
roll an insight roll.
Yes, I will roll an
A
insight roll.
wits insight.
Okay.
Just because I'm feeling like it tonight.
And and we're going to surge too.
When she comes back in the room, she's gonna see Genevieve's wandering around with her flashlight and her phone on, like shining it at shadows and stuff. Because
I mean,
why not?
If the shadow goes away, or if you shine a light on it and the shadow is still there,
Exactly.
you know it's something different. We shall see what Jackie gets. Isabella, while Jackie is rolling, do you have a response for Mr. Sovereign?
I'll ask Jackie if I can meet Sovereign here.
5 successes. There's an odd undertone overall in the club tonight. In the time you're there, you do see your bouncers remove 3 people, which is more than usual.
She will actually walk up to one of the bouncers just after he has escorted someone out and say, "What's going on tonight?"
Nothing much, ma'am. It just seems the natives are restless. They're just getting a little too riled up, I think, tonight. We've had to escort out 8 or 9 already.
Really?
Yeah. Some are getting a little too handsy. Some are just being a little too aggressive.
Are they coming from any of particular dance room?
No, ma'am. It's
Split?
split around the place. We've even turned a few away at the door just because they were didn't want to wait in line. They wanted to be aggressive about having to wait in line.
You know what? The next time you have someone that acts unruly, secure him. I'd like to talk with them.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And she walks back to the conference room.
Isabella will actually respond, my bar.
Okay. And rather quickly, you get a response. Be there in 1 hour.
I need Evan, Ginny.
Okay. He should be in the garage. I'll let him know.
Thank you.
Genevieve will excuse herself from the room just to go let Evan know. So
Okay. And Evan is in the garage. He was actually down there waxing the car of all things tonight. You don't know why, but he just gets random ideas like that.
just really quickly, Genevieve's just going to let Evan know. He's going to escort Isabella wherever she needs to go tonight, and he's going to stay with her. So,
Okay, that's not a problem, I guess. I mean, if I got to have somebody on my arm, one beautiful woman's good as the next beautiful woman, we can just, it's always good for me.
yeah. No, also eyes around. I know you're smarter than you act, Evan, but she's going to be meeting with the Seneschal, Mr. Sovereign, and no offense, your backup in case something happens.
Look, you know me, I'm just a dumb broad, running around here.
Yes, totally.
Himbo.
Genevieve just kind of slaps him on the shoulder, and she heads back towards the club.
Okay.
As Jackie enters the room, Roscoe and Nicholas, do you mind staying here a little while longer? Good. Our bouncers have been having to escort some people out, like in much higher numbers than usual tonight. And even turning some people away from the door because they seem like they're up to no good. And there have been people getting handsy downstairs. Just as the bouncer told me, it seems the natives are getting restless tonight. But I didn't see anything out of the ordinary down there. There's a few spirits mulling around, but nothing else.
Could there be any relation to our recently discovered drug problem?
I don't know. I asked a bouncer to ensure that if they have to remove another one, to secure them, and I will question them. But I would like to have you two gentlemen with me, just in case.
Sure.
Now,
Not
I'll let you
perfect.
know that your coin has gone off once or twice
Mhm.
because, I mean, some kindred show up to your place, nothing new about it. There was a brief instance of it. It kind of went warm, but not quite warm. It's a very odd way. You could almost mistake it to it just not being as cold as usual in your pocket because, you don't have body heat. But tepid. There we go, tepid. I like that.
I wonder what that was.
I wonder. I don't think we ever tested it with thin bloods to see if they have any kind of reaction, like full-blooded kindred or not.
Oh, that is an interesting thought. Huh. Well, I am going to go mingle a bit. If there's nothing else.
And then while Nicholas ends up like hanging around, like Jackie asked, when he's in places safe to do so, he'll do Oblivion Sight and look around just because he's got a little more experience with spirits and what's normal and what's not, just to see if anything stands out to him.
Okay, I'm going to let you roll on that. Wits awareness, please. Now,
Does concealed objects.
sure, I will let you use that. So you're aware both Sense the Beast and Scry the Soul have the potential to detect supernatural creatures. So, as a storyteller, I will point out you could wander the place. Nice with that critical success on an 8. We'll come back to you in a minute. But if either one of the people that have those kind of abilities, they could scan the crowd or walk the crowd. Scry the Soul and Sense the Beast, both are one of them.
Could you sense the unseen? Would that be useful?
Nope, but you have Scry the Soul.
Okay. Well, I'll try that.
It's intelligence all specs. The difficulty, of course, is determined by the size of this crowd. But, once the lag stops, I see it rolled and then it just sits there. But there we go. 5's not bad.
Let's willpower that.
Now for you, Nicholas, while you're doing that, it's about the same number as Ghost as usual. Wow, Jackie got 6 on a Sense the Beast. Not bad at all. As you're doing that, Nicholas, you notice it's about the same number of spirits as usual. But as you're watching, they seem to be having a reaction to something. They cut their eyes, and as they cut their eyes to different parts of the club, you start seeing the spirits leaving.
Like they're being almost like they're being summoned by something.
Or like they're leaving. They turn and look at each other and walk out.
Like something's setting them off.
Yeah, something is making them leave. And Jackie,
Does it?
go ahead.
Does it? Sorry.
Go ahead.
Does it seem similar to when what's his name? Garward Marshall was like kind of feeding off of them? Does it seem like they're having a similar reaction like that?
No, they seem to be enjoying watching him play. These are almost nervous looking spirits deciding they've seen something they don't like and leaving the place. And Jackie, as you're walking around, there's definitely something supernatural here as you're moving through it. And Roscoe, as you're scanning this crowd looking at the souls of those around you, don't forget to rouse as well, Roscoe, because it was a rouse check on that. You catch sight of a woman, maybe 22, 23. She's definitely supernatural. You would put her, or your best guess would be a thin blood. You can tell she's not quite got the full aura that you're used to on someone who is fully undead, but they're definitely not mortal. And Jackie, as you're walking the crowd, your sense the beast is going off and on and off and on in terms of danger. There's a low-level hostility that you're sensing with sense the beast, as if something is stoking things around it.
I'm going to work myself around until I feel it's like closer to the concentration.
Am I anywhere close to Jackie?
You can be if you wish to be.
Because I'll point the girl out to Jackie.
And as you point the girl
And I'll
out,
walk towards her.
and Jackie, it's moving. Whatever is causing this is moving around the place. Now, who else? What did the rest of the coterie? Did Isabella, you out there too, looking around?
Is everyone else out there?
I believe so. I don't know if where Jenny went.
Yeah, she'll go out there too. I don't really know if I have anything be useful to see anything.
Everyone can do a wits awareness if they want. A simple wits awareness.
While Nicholas is out looking around, he's going to try and see where all of these spirits are looking, to see if he can figure out where they're getting the feeling, or where they're like try and get an idea where they're getting this bad feeling from, but then also trying to catch the attention of one without making himself too conspicuous.
Damn. Isabella, critical success with 7. Roscoe, crit with a messy crit.
I
Roscoe,
did also
give me a
apply
frenzy check,
instincts to
please.
that, by the way, because instinct seems like it'll apply here.
Okay. 3. Okay. As you're moving around and you're looking, Nick, they definitely are looking at something, but it's moving. But Roscoe and Isabella catch sight of something out of the corner of their eye. It's a shadow that flickered in and out of existence. Vaguely humanoid shape. Vaguely is the only way to describing. But it's not a solid shadow. It's a shadow with wisps and bits of almost like shadowy steam that comes off them in places. It's always out of the corner of your eye, though. And then as you all are standing there, Jackie, you're as you're approaching this girl with Nicholas, or with not Nicholas, with Roscoe leading you to it, your sense the beast is screaming you're in danger.
I will rouse for toughness.
Okay. And as you're approaching her, behind you, you hear somebody scream out. And as you turn to look...
Oh, she isn't turning. She's still looking at the girl because she knows she has the rest of her coterie around that they can see what the fuck the scream's about.
Well,
Nicholas
those that
will
are
look
looking to
toward the
see the
scream.
scream, there's a guy with a bottle jammed in his neck. Just
Like a broken bottle?
Yeah, broken bottle.
Stabbed?
Yeah. Just randomly, somebody just stabbed somebody in the club with a broken bottle.
Can I see anybody that looks like they are running or
The one who did it is standing over the body.
I will tackle him.
Okay. Guy doesn't even try to block you. What's everybody else doing?
Jackie does have her cane in her hand.
I was gonna say Genevieve's going to work her way towards the scene, and she can't do first aid necessarily, but she can try and apply some pressure with like a yeah.
Isabella's gonna make her way towards Jackie.
Oh, you see the look on Jackie's face? It is like
Yeah.
that, like she's going into war now.
Yeah, like
And
they got that. She's gonna go with Jackie.
You're moving towards Jackie. You notice suddenly a couple fights have broken out in the place. Isolated groups here and there start punching and hitting each other.
We have enough security here to handle that.
You do. Now, Antoine, did you leave the place or did you hang around after Etienne escorted you off the second floor? Just curious.
I think I was curious and I stayed.
Okay, so you see fights are breaking out throughout this place. Sometimes a bottle's being used. Actually, by where you are, Antoine, somebody picked up a chair and just hit somebody. Now, the odd thing is they didn't even seem to look at each other or talk to each other before it happened. One guy picks up a chair and hits the other.
What does this girl, what is her expression doing? What is she doing?
She's got an odd look. Let's see here. Judging by earlier rolls, she's got a glazed over look in her eyes.
Okay. As I approach her, I will put the cane right against her chest, getting ready to stake her and say, "You're going to talk right now."
And that flickering thing, it appears behind her. Now, when I say appears, it's still a shadow. It is wisping smoke of shadow
I'll
off.
turn on Oblivion Sight.
Okay, hang on. Let me finish. It's a distorted shape. It's not male or female in shape. It's just very odd. But there's one thing that's very clear. It has long claws that are very much not shadow.
Now Jackie can't see that right at the moment, can she? Or can she?
She's got the girl. She can see it.
Okay.
All of you can see it all
Okay.
of a sudden.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to stake the girl.
Okay, so you're staking. Isabella, you were working your way towards Jackie when you got just close enough to see what's happening. Now, I will tell you, Isabella, this does not remind you at all of Amelia. The body shape's even wrong.
Is Nicholas getting any sort of the weirdness at the corners thing?
No, you didn't get it. Well, actually, yes,
Okay.
you had a high, didn't you?
Yeah, it was like 8 with a crit.
Yeah.
Is that familiar with what happened
No,
with?
this thing, you're not quite sure what it is. It's not in the spirit world. You know this. Whatever it is, it's on our side of the shroud. Jenny, what are you doing?
Since they're not screaming over by the person that Jackie's trying to stake, Jenny's just trying to kind of like move towards a fight and break a fight up or something, since
Okay.
it's still a business.
What are you doing again, Isabella? I want to make sure I'm getting everybody's ideas.
I don't know. Okay, is it do I get the impression that if I used vicissitude to build up my skin toughness?
It would take time to do it. I
Would
don't
take
know if
time?
you'd have
Okay.
time to do it here.
Okay. I wasn't sure if it was that or if it would like cause a scene, like if it'd be visible, that's what was happening. Okay.
People would look at you funny as you're rubbing your hands over your body, but it takes time to do it. So
Okay, that's the bigger problem. Got it. Oh fuck. She's just gonna pull out a knife and go closer towards it and like almost like guard Jackie. She's not gonna make a move like to stab it because she doesn't know if that's gonna fucking do any good.
I'll also remind you, because I like doing that tonight, start of a season. All gets people's attention very quickly, and it's difficult to attack somebody who has all running. It's not an easy thing for them to do. Unless you attack them first, of course.
The caveat to that would be, does awe then direct everyone's violent anger towards one person?
Not generally, no. Generally, they're starstruck by Isabella's presence.
Okay. Then I guess I...
But you can pull your knife if you wish. That's up to you.
No, yeah, that's a better idea. It's... I guess... I didn't think that I could like a weird shadow being thing.
No, but the people fighting would
Yeah, you could diffuse some fights.
I guess I'll do that.
I need a point of clarification,
Yes.
Storyteller. When this creature behind the girl manifested, did it appear threatening?
Oh, yeah, it's got claws out. Yeah, it's pretty threatening.
Okay, so instead of staking her, I still have my cane where it is, ready to stake her. I will actually instead rouse for shatter, because if that fucker touches me, it's gonna fucking feel it.
Okay. So you're going to turn on all, Isabella? I mean, you can do that with a knife in your hand. It don't matter.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. So, Roscoe, what are you doing? You're with Jackie as this thing materializes, and you've never seen anything like it.
No, Jackie, do you see that?
Yes.
Okay. Because it was flitting around. like
Toughen
the corners of
yourself
my-
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nicholas roused for toughness.
Okay. And when this thing materialized, Nicholas, with all your successes and everything else and your familiarity with spirits, yeah, they're clearing the place.
Yeah.
They went from filtering out to spirits have bolted.
What is Izzy doing?
You don't know.
Do I feel like she's in the...
No, she is not.
She's bolted too.
So what's Nicholas going to do? And then we're going to ask Antoine what he's doing with, dude just getting smacked with a chair beside him.
I am... Since clearly I don't think the person who jacked dude in the knife with a bottle is the immediate problem, I am going to sort of move myself to be basically flanking whatever this thing is, and just kind of being ready for somebody to make a move, because I can maybe take a hit, but he's definitely not the aggressor type necessarily.
Okay. Antoine, what are you doing after the chair got hit? What is your plan when this club fight has broken out suddenly?
I will I will go a little aside to have a wider look about what's going on. Because it's a bar, so first of all, I will think it's just a little fight. But after, I will see that there are other fights. And do I see what's happening with Jackie from where I stand around the bar?
You see her with a cane.
Yeah.
Held out to something's chest.
Do I see the creature?
To a young woman's chest, actually. You see the creature as it manifested. Oh, yes, it's clear to everybody. It's there.
Is the girl still glazed?
Oh, yeah. We're going to get to that in a minute. We
Okay.
still haven't even finished. I want to make sure what everybody's doing before I describe the scene.
I was just wondering.
I want to give player agency about what's about to happen.
Yeah.
I will, I said, I have my hat, I've got glasses and everything. And I have my hoodie on like a gangster. then I will put my hoodie off and put my elbows. I put my sleeves off, and I start to. I'm checking what's happening because maybe I will need to run, or I will need to defend myself, or I will need to attack something. So I'm preparing myself.
So here's what happens as we go. You have your cane to this thing's chest, this thin blood's chest. When the creature behind it plunges, you see the claws flash forward into this thin blood's back. Isabella, where you activate awe, a couple of the fights actually stop as they all stare your way and just kind of look, mouth open, just shocked. Jenny, you wade into it between being an obvious predator and, well, Jenny. You break up the fight that had just started between the two of them. You caught the guy's arm before he broke a bottle on somebody's head. Now, Roscoe, you don't get a chance to move towards that at all. Anything other than watching this thing plunge its weapons. And as Nicholas, you're moving around. Same for you. You're moving around the crowd to get an angle on it. And you see this thing plunge two claws. They appear to be, they're not made of shadow for sure, but you're not quite sure what they are. And as for you, Antoine, as you're backing up, the fight doesn't seem to be affecting you for some reason. You don't know why. They seem to be pockets of beating each other up. But when this creature sticks its claws in the girl's back, she screams. And Nicholas, Roscoe, and Jackie all clearly see a flicker between him and the woman, the creature and the woman. Something passing between the two as the creature begins to dissipate into mist that breaks apart. And
What's happening with the lady?
She's crumpled to the ground. Not bleeding.
I check her to see if she's rousable.
No.
Are there any physical wounds on her back where the claws went in?
Oddly enough, no, there aren't.
I check her for ID.
Okay. And as soon as this creature dissipates, the fight all seems to stop.
And I pat her pockets down. I want to see if she has this drug on her.
You do find an empty Ziploc in her pocket.
Does it have any traces of it?
Yes, there's a blue powder trace, remnants of it.
She hands it back to the gentleman to examine. She was high on it.
And the bouncers have already moved in and are immediately starting to grab the people who've been fighting and eject them. The woman who's injured, they're already, an ambulance is on the way for that. And actually, one of the bouncers comes over to Jackie. Ma'am, we should probably close up for tonight at this point.
Absolutely. That is protocol, is it not?
Yes, ma'am. Just making sure. We've not had this happen before.
No, but we have protocols just in case.
And as you're examining this one on the ground, Roscoe, it's Kindred. She's dead. Not aging, not doing what a full-blooded Kindred would do. But she's dead.
Was there any ID on her?
Yes, you get a name. It's Michelle. And the last name would be Walters. 22. Good guess. You get credit cards. An assortment of things.
She actually hands the ID to Etienne, because I'm sure he's come up to her by now. Make a copy of this, and we put it back.
Yes, ma'am. What happened to her?
She's dead.
Yeah, she, I believe, was on the drug and something killed her for it.
Now, Isabella, as the bouncers are trying to clear people out of the place, several guys have come up to you at this point, asking you for your phone number.
He just fucking ignores them.
Yeah, no sense after a fight. They're just asking for your phone number, but you have all going. So
She drops it. Like, she's dropped it at this point. So
Oh yeah, no. And as soon as she drops it, like Nicholas will walk over with obvious predator and tell them politely to fuck off.
that seems to clear things out. And the guy with you, Jenny, as soon as the fight stopped and he looked at you, you see him take a step back. I don't know what come over me. It won't happen again. I'm sorry.
Damn right it won't. And Genevieve just kind of slings back and punches him in the gut real hard, and then kind of grabs his like neck and throws him towards the door. So,
And as the crowd is clearing out, Jackie, you see Antoine. He's still in the club.
So wait, could this be the vengeful spirit?
Oh, I'm pretty
Become-
sure it seemed rather vengeful.
Well, but we know that wasn't it one of the features of making ash?
Mm-hmm. That supposedly people were talking about a vengeful spirit chasing. them.
Right.
Yes. I say it caught up with her.
Mm-hmm.
I think we
Could
may
this-
need to make a trip to this place where they say they can offer your weight in gold. She snaps a photo of the dead girl
Okay.
and stands up after she puts the ID back.
And as the coterie makes himself a bit scarce because
Mhm.
obviously police are coming. We're going to go to break right here, everybody. With the coterie, well, one of the things the book mentioned was not just the spirit stalking, but it seemed to have an effect on emotions of those around it. I think this coterie now has a way to track those who might be using it. So we will see everybody in 10 minutes. Please enjoy the break.
Allow me to introduce myself, though I fear you've heard my name, that you've heard the story of Countess Bathory. History is told by the victors, heroic warriors, and mad kings. Will you hear my story? From the lips of Bathory, they call me blood-sucking demon, queen of hell, sadistic killer, a monster tale, bathing in the blood of virgins, beautiful, drinking the blood of virgins, beautiful, the blood countess. Who is she really? Who is she really? Blood countess. Who is she really? Is she blood Bathory? I was very wealthy and powerful, a widow with political rivals keen to destroy me and take my property. My plea was never offered, all my confessors were all tortured, or how they destroyed me for my property. They put me up, shut me up, shut me up, put me up, shut me up, shut me me up and told a story of a bitch called Bathory. The sucking demon, queen of hell, sadistic killer, a monster tale, bathing in the blood of virgins, deeply beautiful, drinking the blood of virgins, deeply youthful, the blood countess. Who is she really? Who is she really? Blood countess. Who is she really? Elizabeth Bathory. Splinters of my soul cut through your skin and burrow within, and burrow within. Splinters of my soul cut through your skin and burrow within, and burrow within. Splinters of my soul cut through your skin and burrow within, and burrow within. I've always been the hunter, nothing on my tail. But there was something in you I knew could make that change. To capture a predator who can't remain the prey, you have to become an equal in every way. So look in the mirror and tell me, who do you see? Is it still you, or is it me? Become the beast, we don't have to hide. Do I terrify you? Or do you feel alive? Do you feel the hunger? Does it howl inside? Does it terrify you? Or do you feel alive? Splinters of my soul cut through your skin and burrow within, and burrow within. Splinters of my soul cut through your skin and burrow within, and burrow within. So embrace the darkness, and I will help you see that you can be limitless and fearless if you follow me. We are the lion, hunters, the hunters, the hunters, the hunters. Become the beast. We don't have to hide. Do I terrify you? Do you feel alive? Do you feel the hunger? Does it howl inside? Does it terrify you? Or do you feel alive? Splinters of my soul cut through your skin and burrow within, and burrow within. Splinters of my soul cut through your skin and burrow within, and burrow within. Splinters of my soul cut through your skin and burrow within, and burrow within. Splinters of my soul cut through your skin to burrow within. Do you burrow within? Do you feel the hunger? Does it howl inside? Does it terrify you? Or do you feel alive?
Welcome back. Before the break, we had some interesting scenes that, well, I mean, Coterie got together and finally shared the info that they didn't get a chance to share when Lamar was leaving. Jackie had a nice talk with Antoine. The Coterie had a fight break out in their club of all things. And Isabella, you've got to go meet with Sovereign. And I assume while the rest of the Coterie is loading the Thin Blood's body into Nicholas's car, cloud memorying the bouncer so that they don't remember a girl passed out there on the floor, the cops aren't going to get to talk to anyone else because as soon as they got thrown out of the club after a fight, everyone seems to really quickly disappear rather than talk to cops. I don't know why. And we're going to flash now as Isabella. Evan is with you, driving you there. So Jenny didn't tell me much about it. Just I'm here to keep an eye on you, make sure everything's okay.
Well, did she tell you about the scalp?
A scalp? No, I don't know anything about a scalp.
Someone shipped a scalp to me. I think it's related to him. We're gonna figure it out. I need you for backup. That's it in a nutshell.
Sending a scalp, that's some old school shit right there.
That it is.
Man. I haven't seen that game played since, there was a Sabbat uprising some time ago that we squashed. Well, not we, as in not just me, but when there's a war, we're all in it.
As part of that, do they typically send eye teeth as well?
Oh, that's a bit of an insult for your kind when you think about it. You feed, and to feed, you need your eye teeth.
I get that. I just wasn't sure if it was related to what you saw previously.
Oh, I've seen that done more than once. Of course, I've seen that done with Anarchs, Camarilla, and Sabat. That's nothing. That's considered a good way to show that you were in complete control, because none of your kind would ever let somebody yank a tooth out. I mean, I wouldn't exactly either, but could you imagine having to gum somebody to try to feed? It wouldn't work well.
Yeah. We know who did it. Just don't quite know how to find them.
You see, that's
They're very
always been
good
the
at hiding.
problem. When the Sabbats start acting up, for all their, we act like they're in the limelight all the time. They're really good at laying low and striking when you don't expect them. Best way to deal with them has always been a trap, a good trap. And the only problem with traps are, of course, normally, like any fisherman will tell you, when you put the bait on the hook, you don't really care about the bait anymore, because normally it doesn't survive the fishing expedition.
What kind of traps have you seen work?
Normally, the best ones work on setting a pattern that the one you're hunting for knows to follow. We did it a few times in Vegas. We'd get a high value target, make sure that they were always seen at the same time in the same place multiple nights in a row, and make a habit of it. Eventually, it became too much of a lure to resist. They would strike. And the hard part was making sure that you weren't watched as you were setting this up, because they would look for someone watching and protecting them. And that was the problem with the fisherman side, that a lot of times your bait didn't make it through the night, but you got your target.
Suppose it's a matter of priorities.
Yeah, well, you'd be amazed how many of your kind are pretty confident they can come out of it. We used Venture a lot of times for bait.
I'm sure they loved that.
Well, most of them understood. You see, when the Sabbat are going after somebody, they like to destabilize. And the first ones they would normally target to destabilize are the Venture. Pillars of the Camarilla and all that. Target their businesses. Target them, their ghouls, their associates. That's how the Sabbat would normally move in. If you got a scout, I would expect to start seeing, I don't know, maybe your bar targeted for something. They'll start trying to isolate you, trying to pull you away from where you feel safe. At least that's based on past experience.
As far as... I'd agree with that. But she is very particular with one aspect of her revenge. She wants me to die in someone in particular's arms. There at least needs to be two of us there.
Oh. I mean, I get it. I'd die in your arms. And he gets that insolent grin again that he gets
We can
from time
arrange
to time.
that.
Well, I don't mean literally, damn. Okay, I guess I should really think about who I'm talking to here.
Hey, I don't know what you're into.
I'm into a little bit of everything. You can call me trisexual. I'll try it. And if I like it, I
Figured.
might try it again.
Figure that's what you meant.
If you're worried about dying in the arms, see, the problem is, you can take somebody and arrange for where you want them to die. That's not a difficult part. I mean, there's all kinds of fun ways to do it. I heard of one way, they staked him with a toothpick, but they staked him in the finger. And the toothpick just worked its way up to the heart. And see, if you don't know the splinters in there, you don't realize what it's doing.
I hate that you use the word splinter.
Well, I mean, why would you hate that?
A long night.
Someone
Leave
once,
it at that.
Someone once told me, I don't know why, I read, but not those kind of books. Somebody called it the Tolkien kill. A splinter works its way up to the heart and kills you. I don't understand the reference. I don't read fantasy. I think I live fantasy enough, but there's lots of ways to control death like that.
That's fair.
Sorry,
I guess
I'm
I just makes your
upsetting you.
job extra tough tonight.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm upset you. I guess I didn't say the right things, but as Jenny will tell you, I have foot and mouth syndrome. I say things and insert foot, and
So's Jenny sometimes, though.
yeah, that's why she keeps me around, you know? Well, that and she has no choice, but we don't talk about the no choice part. We talk about the friendship side, you see.
Ah.
Oh, looks like we're about here, though. Where do you want me to go? I assume if you're meeting somebody.
This is my place. We can park out front.
Yeah, but where do you want me to stand while you're meeting with them? I doubt anyone you're meeting with that's kindred is going to want me in the room with you.
You think I care what they want?
Okay. We can do that. I mean, I've
You're
got
at least going to be nearby. We'll work out how comfortable they are with you there anyway.
Okay, let's do that then. And as you go inside, Emilio eyeballs Evan, looks at you, looks at Evan, looks at you, and just kind of shrugs a little because he knows that you'll tell him or you won't. He won't get much choice in the matter. And as you go back to your office, Evan just comes over briefly. Anything I should be aware of, ma'am? Then he cuts his eyes at Evan when he says it.
Strinishal is coming.
Oh, okay. Well,
There's... With the type of, I guess, week I've been having, figured some extra backup would be good. And I love you, Emilio, but I want you to be safe.
I get it. I get it. I'll wait at the door and escort him in.
Thank you.
And you can tell he's not happy with the situation, but he's bloodbound. He doesn't get much of a choice now, does he? And as you go back in your office, Evan looks around. Nice place. Think your boy was a little upset, though, because he called you ma'am. He never does that.
I mean, not that he was upset. He just kind of wants to... I want to say assert dominance in a way. That he's able to interact with me better than you, but...
I've seen it before. It has to do with that bond. They get a little jealous sometimes. Not that he has a choice. Not that any of us get a choice sometimes. Well, I'll, looks around a bit. I'm just going to go lean over in the corner and try to be unobtrusive.
Sounds good.
And he goes and leans back in the corner. And it's not long before there's a knock on the door. And Emilio pokes his head inside. Mr. Sovereign's here to see you.
Thank you. You can send him in.
And as the door opens, you realize that when you looked over to Emilio and looked back, Evan's not there in the corner anymore. He's not in your office at all.
Interesting.
Yep, there's no Evan. But Alan walks in. Miss Caputo, thank you. And he looks over at the door and waits for it to close. Very good. I'm sorry to announce my meeting with you so quickly. I have a question for you if you don't mind answering me.
Of course, Seneschal. What is it?
Have you seen Mr. White lately?
I was actually going to set some time aside to meet with you. Ask for the exact type of thing, actually.
No. I'm curious.
Someone...
He left a message that he was going to come stay at your place for a while, and then my townhouse burnt down.
I'm sad to say he never made it to my place.
Hmm.
Well, at least not all of him.
Wait,
And she'll pull out the box that she received.
well. Now that is interesting. That does look like his hair, but it's not singed.
Which means he probably never left your place.
Would you happen to
Alive.
know who did this and who burned my townhouse down?
I know that he was terribly afraid that his sire was going to come after him. I'm sure he'd mentioned that to you. You seemed close.
Let's see. Yeah, yes, his sire was a problem. A big problem.
Can I roll to see if he is being forthcoming?
Go ahead. Wits insight. And we'll see what you can read off it. 5. Not bad at all. 5 on 6 dice, no less. Well, 7 dice. Because of your blood die. He is trying to hide it, but it's definitely... He is surprised at what you just told him. Something about the corner of his eye twitch, tightening of the jaw. He did not expect that particular bit of news.
That it was that I have a scalp, or that he was afraid of Amelia?
That whole situation. Are you suggesting Amelia has found her child?
I think that makes the most sense, unless you know of other enemies he had in the area, someone else who'd want to
No.
do this to him.
He had many enemies. He was La Sombra. And
He was
one
under
that
your
did not
protection,
pay,
though.
well, he did not pay the sacrifice like many do. And that causes hardships. But his sire definitely had a beef with him. The problem is, as far as I'm aware, she's blood hunted.
It's only a problem if someone finds you, unfortunately. She's been blood hunted for a very long time, and it doesn't seem to have resolved the problem yet.
Yes, there are many like that. It's all rather upsetting. I lose my townhouse. I lose a valuable source of information. I lose a business partner. And now we have a blood-hunted La Sombra. If you're to be believed, do you know for sure whether his sire had something to do with it?
I know that she's made threats, and that she has been seen around.
You're going to roll Composure Subterfuge.
Impeccable lies?
Sure.
I guess I'm not lying.
You're not lying, but you
lying.
can still roll it.
Okay. What'd you say? Composure?
Yep, Composure Subterfuge.
Why is that so few dice? Okay, that doesn't...
Subterfuge and Composure.
Okay.
Well, good to know. Have you informed the sheriff yet that there may be a blood-hunted individual in the city?
Not yet. I wasn't sure if she was truly... Oh, have we? Okay, I couldn't remember. It's been a long
you all
time.
told Damien.
Yeah, we told Damien.
Yeah. Okay,
But the
I
question
couldn't
is,
remember.
do you
I
tell
thought so.
Sovereign that?
We have informed the proper
Hmm.
parties, yes.
And yet I haven't heard about it yet. Normally I would hear about news like this.
I'm Sorry to hear that, Seneschal.
Hmm. Well, this is rather depressing. You do realize when he called, he said he was taking you up on an offer of sanctuary.
He never arrived at my place to claim that.
Yes, but I'm not sure how much you understand about us Ventru. He was under my protection until he joined yours. And since he had requested sanctuary, while you are Toreador and you have your own decisions. Let's just say that Clan Ventru here feels you also have a debt to find his killer.
I intend to find her anyway.
Good,
Regardless
then I guess
of
we're on
any
the
debt
same
I owed
page.
him.
Perfect. I just want to make sure that we both understand each other. If his killer were to go unpunished, well, it would hurt my standing and yours as well.
Does that mean I can count on assistance from you to help me find her?
Well, of course. Status is very important. And I have a vested interest with him gone. It has hurt my business arrangements. There was a lot of money involved with his project.
I know that at one point, when quite a while ago, we had talked about me taking over those projects should Brayden fail.
Why, yes, I do recall that information. You know, by the moves you're making, it would make me wonder if you hadn't removed him. Except I don't think you would be so gauche as to collect a scalp.
I mean, also, I don't think I'd be so obvious about it.
I tell you what, I do not like losing money. Money is important. I will have my people draw up some papers. And I will have them brought by to you in a few days. And we will use that as a negotiation point. For the vested interest. Getting the assets out of his name won't be difficult at all. But it's only a matter of whether we can reach an agreement.
It seems like we both have a vested interest in having this work out.
Why, yes.
Sure, we can come to something.
Don't you know this is Chicago? Money is what matters. Money is what makes it all operate.
Money and your reputation.
Reputation is just as important, especially when you hit a certain level. And I will say the fact that you are a Toreador helps. As you may have heard, I am not allowed to do business with my fellow Ventru. Well. Now I must figure out what to do. One last thing. Do you happen to have any idea how she knew where my townhouse was?
I don't know, fortunately. You can only hazard a guess.
No matter. That was just one of many. Well, you have a good evening, Miss Kabuto. I have to go and arrange some things now with this shocking news, and I must speak to the prince.
I look forward to hearing from you, Seneschal, and working with you in the future.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. And he turns and walks from the room, and as he walks from the room, you realize Evan is there in the corner still. And he's just grinning. They never check. They never fucking check.
And you seem pretty good at hiding.
Well, I've got a few tricks up my sleeve that others don't know about.
I can see that. Guess we'll have to investigate those tricks at some point, won't we?
Well, I can't give them all away, you know. Guys gotta have a few secrets. You know, I was watching him this whole time, and he just definitely surprised him that Braden was dead. But if I didn't know any better, he's more upset about the townhouse burning down and the loss of business than the loss of Braden.
Means he didn't think Braden died in the townhouse. He knew that Braden was gone before that happened.
Yeah,
Or he
the
thought
thing.
Braden had something to do with it.
Look, I don't have extensive experience with most Ventru, but the one that I've served for a while now, sure, she'd be upset at her money, but she'd be more upset at the insult that was just paid. I understand his bit about sanctuary and all that. I understand. I get it. But there's more to it there than that. He should be foaming at the mouth over somebody getting taken in his haven and burning the haven down at the same time.
Only if he didn't have tertiary plans in its event of it happening.
Yeah. He's a slimy one, that one.
I think that's one thing we can all agree on.
Oh, yeah. Well, at least you didn't need my help with this. You didn't need my protection.
I wasn't sure how enthusiastic he'd be about all of it.
I'll be honest. It's been a while since I got to throw down with Ventru. It's fun when it happens. And he gets that insolent grin he always seems to get. When he says something he knows is meant to just, you know, play up a shtick that he does.
I mean, I have a Lasombra. I'd rather you help me with an adventure personally, but I guess if that's what you enjoy.
No. Not anymore. I'm all Team Ventru now. But, you know, we all have a past. Well, okay, I'll head back. I'll go see Jenny. I'll catch an Uber. I'm not going to steal your car.
I think Amelia would have your head if you did that.
At the very least, he'd be playing pranks. I don't want him.
He would do that anyway.
I don't want him swiping my wallet or, you know, tying my shoelaces together. Who the fuck does that? Oh, wait a minute. Emilio does that. Never mind.
I mean, that thing is, it works, doesn't it?
I mean, it's not
That's what
bad.
people he's pranking.
It's not bad. At least it's not like injuries, but I mean, God, who does that shit? Well, see you around, Isabella.
Thank you, Evan. Enjoy yourself tonight.
Oh, and he
Not
looks
too
back
much,
at
though.
you and he winks. Oh, I will. Don't worry. And as he comes out, it's not even a minute before Emilio comes in. Okay.
It's been
Anything to tell me here? Because, I mean, Sovereign coming here?
he knew that Braden
Mm.
had said he was going to leave and come to my protection. His townhouse burnt down. He wanted to see where Braden was.
So we're on the hook, huh?
Slightly.
She burned his haven down? Yeah.
Seems to be so.
With your permission, Isabella, I'm going to beef up our security a bit.
I mean, I've already had you install the
Yeah.
wickedly bright lights
I think I'm
to
gonna
get rid
put
of shadows.
We're gonna put some more cameras in, and I'm gonna double the daytime watchers, just to make sure a fire doesn't break out suddenly.
Much appreciated. I'd also... This is excessive, and I know it, but I need to be safe. Get rid of any, like, bare wood lying around. toothpicks, anything of the sort.
I mean, we're a bar. We've got toothpicks. We've got...
Now we don't.
Okay. Okay, that's fine by me. We can pick all those up. Okay. Anything else?
I think that's all, Emilio.
And as he
Thank you
goes,
for everything.
he turns to leave, and then he stops in the doorway and turns back and looks at you. I won't let her get you. You can rest assured of that. She'll have to kill me first.
Yeah, and I don't want that. Let's avoid that from happening.
I get it. But you know, if it comes down to it, I'll go before she'll get you.
That's what I'm afraid of. We won't let it get that far, though.
Hope not. And he turns and leaves the room. Well, anything you're doing before we switch scenes?
I don't think so. I think we're good.
Okay. And with that rare bit of emotional outreach from Emilio, because he doesn't act like that often, we flash over to Nicholas, who has moved the body to his mortuary, or his crematorium, really, to take a look at this Thin Blood's body. So, Nicholas, as you look at it, it's definitely hard to tell that this is not a human. The skin is not as pallid as your kind. There's a flush to it. Now, it could have been blush of life, but normally when dead, the blush of life would have ended immediately. Hers isn't. Her skin is fading, getting a waxy pallor, kind of like a real dead person. So what are your plans with this cadaver to look over? Oh, cut out. Didn't hear you.
Yep. Nope. I bend it. I think Nicholas would do like whatever tests he could think of that would come to mind. So, try and see if he can get any sort of like blood or vitae or whatever Thin Bloods have. Try and see if he can find like anything like that. And then past that, just trying to do, just trying to see if there's anything he can get from the body, like any sort of marks from where the beast spirit thing touched her. I think those are the main things immediately, is just trying to figure out anything like with the blood, and then specifically where she was attacked by this thing.
So where you flip her over and start to look where the claws went into her back, you notice, I mean, she's not been dead long enough for the blood to really pool, but she's got large bruises on the back where the claws went in. But the bruises are also sunk in somehow. And as you're poking at it with a knife and split open, you realize that under the skin, the inner tissue is going all necrotic, rotting from under the skin, but not through the skin itself.
And is this like about where the claws?
It's exactly where the claws went in.
Is there any sort of discernible shape to it to reinforce that this is also possibly where these claws reached in?
Oh, the necrotic part, it almost looks claw shaped. It's like where the claws didn't do anything to the skin, but when it penetrated the skin, it almost rotted out everywhere it touched. They're almost perfectly claw shaped.
Does it seem to be focused on any specific organs or around any particular structures?
No, but the claws got through the spine, severed the spine in one spot, through the rot. The bone even looks rotted, which is odd because bone doesn't normally rot quite like that. The heart, lungs. I mean, it went straight through. It did not stop for anything.
Does it seem reminiscent of any abilities that I've seen, or any illnesses
No.
other than just necrosis?
I mean, the rotting, you've seen necrotic spiders, but they always leave a mark on the skin.
Mhm.
They don't, and it always rots from the point of bite, not all the way that deep. But as you're doing this and examining, and the blood, she's dead, it pools a bit. The blood is awful enticing to you.
I imagine while doing this probably gets like a bit lost in it and almost sort of like haphazardly, because he feeds off of the dead. To him, I think it might even just be like a haphazard, like he got his hand, he was in there and then like touches to his tongue or to his mouth, to his lip or something. But I imagine it was like he's more interested in like the research he's doing and just sort of like haphazardly.
And you find the only organs truly damaged are where the claws pierce, the lungs, the heart, the spine. But as you're checking the others, as you reach the kidneys, the hand that has actually, do you wear the cannibal ring or just carry it? Curious.
Probably carries so people don't necessarily see it.
The hand on the same side as the pocket you keep it in reaches out and pulls the liver out, tears it out.
Liver or kidney?
Or kidney, tears it out. And you don't even realize what you're doing before you take a bite of it. And as you take a bite of it, just for an instant, something flashes before your eyes. You are sleeping in a box. Something wakes you, though it's so sluggish. That fleeting memory is all you get.
Interesting.
And you don't even realize it until you've eaten about half of it. That you've been eating the organs from her.
This could certainly be problematic. At which point he will put what's left of the kidney back inside and then put her in the crematory or in the incinerator.
And as you loading her in the incinerator, another thing flashes across your vision. Feel of a wooden stake driven into you. There you look down, gasp at the pain, and look down. There's no stake in you.
Interesting.
And you realize your name was Harvey. But that's all.
Yeah, I think at that point, Nicholas is just trying to sort of think of the ramifications of what he's done, but also the potential benefit. And I think that's just kind of like where Nicholas is with all of this. And then just cleaning up, being in the crematory sort of like after hours, trying to make sure that there's like no evidence that she was here.
And as you're cleaning it up, all those flashes of imaging of past disappears. And it's not long before it doesn't affect you anymore. But you realize that that was awful close to some things you've heard about Ash. Memories of a dead kindred. As you dispose of the body and burn it up, your mind keeps drifting back to, wonder what would happen if I finished the rest of the organs? Would I have picked up more memories? It nags at you.
Oh yeah, no, this is absolutely like circling around in his head was like if he had eaten more. Like it's this back and forth weird thing where it's if he had eaten more, because I almost wonder if in his head he's also thinking back that like there are like stories about, you know, rituals where tribes would eat people to gain part of their strength, and like whether or not this is part of it. But then it might be the ash. But yeah, I think for him is he's just kind of like fascinated that it might be true. Like some of the rituals that he's heard about during his studies.
And as you go about the rest of your evening, I assume you eventually do clean all the blood off your face before Nicholas or before Matthew comes and sees you.
Oh yeah.
You know.
No. Like so once he's thrown it in the like yeah, it's once he's done mulling things over, like his thing is making sure that there's no evidence of what he's been doing, whether on him or in the crematory.
Okay. And from here, we're going to skip to the next night because the new moon is coming. Jenny has somewhere to be.
Indeed. I will say Genevieve will drive herself to the House of Lilith. She's not going to have Evan take her, so.
Okay. And when you arrive at the House of Lilith this night, you notice that it's closed. Though the sign says closed, the woman is still standing, leaning by the door.
Genevieve will just approach her and say, "Good evening. Erzule is expecting me."
You would be Genevieve, right?
Correct.
No problem. Go inside. Go straight to the back, behind the bar. Go up the stairs.
Okay. Thank you.
And then she turns and opens the door for you.
Genevieve will enter, and then she'll go directly where she was instructed by the doorwoman.
And when you go inside, the bar is empty. And you go behind the bar, and right in front of you is a stairwell that goes up. And when you go up, you come to a door, a roof access door that you've seen a million times. But when you open it up, you're standing on a rooftop garden. From the ground, you would have never known it was up here. It almost looks like someone has hollowed out the upper level of the building and removed the roof to make a giant rooftop garden that the walls of the old, what used to be there, hide. And you're only standing there for a second as you hear insects and the chirping of the night and the rustling of the plants and the flowers that are up here. With the rustling of the branches, Urzule steps out of the darkness. Genevieve. Good to see you.
Well, good to see you too, Azule. Thank you for the invitation. I was not expecting this, so.
Well, most don't. It is my little garden. A place to renew, to recharge myself, to remember how things should have been. Please, shut the door behind you and let's walk and talk a bit.
Genevieve will shut the door and, all right, lead the way.
And as you're walking, you realize that through most of this garden, you can't see the walls that are on any side of the place. She's done a good job at getting big enough plants that it hides the fact that you're actually in the hollowed out floor of a building. It gives it a feeling of being much larger than what you would expect. It's quiet up here at night. You have the insects and the animals and the wind.
Yeah, it's nice to have a place where it's calm and you can just breathe it in, as it were. Though we don't need to breathe, but you know what I mean. Obviously, considering what you've done here. So,
No, we don't need to breathe, but sometimes it's useful. How else could we smell the flowers? How else could we smell the earth? You can smell it in the air sometimes. Loamy scent.
I suppose I've been too caught up in my own things, green of a different sort, I suppose, if you, as it were, to pay attention to some of those things recently anyway. So
You should always take time to look at what's around you, to appreciate the few moments we have of respite from the day-to-day problems. Here in my garden, I can pretend, well, the pollution isn't there. I can pretend the problems are not there. I can pretend there's some hope left in the world.
yeah, hope. I don't know. I guess I've never necessarily completely lost hope. So, heck, I'm more hopeful than I was in the past right now. But that's just where I am in my own standing in the world, as it were. So,
Yeah. So you wish to hear about what it means to serve the Dark Mother?
I want to hear what it means to serve the Dark Mother the way you do, because I know one way, and it did not necessarily fit with me.
What do you know? It's always good to know where we start. Every journey begins with a first step. So what do you already know?
Pain, suffering.
Pain is just one part.
Well, I mean, those were the big tentpole items for my my domator at the time. So,
Well, I mean, pain is an aspect of all things. Pain of childbirth, the pain of betrayal, pain of anger. It's only through pain that we really appreciate the better things. But it's not all we are. It's not just pain. Have you heard the rumor? What was the one I heard? We steal the souls of children. It's a personal favorite of mine. The rumor, of course.
Probably at some point that had probably passed my ears, but I will be honest, when I was back in those days, I wasn't probably paying a whole lot of attention to the things that were outside. So it was,
I know some of the mother's followers take that a little too literally. Why would a mother take the soul of children? If you're a mother, it's important to teach your children, to guide your children, to show them the way. Sure, sometimes you must show them the pains of the world so that they can appreciate the beauty. But no, I think some take that too literally. The true children are the ones, the young among us. Take me, for instance, the thin bloods that I have cultivated. They are children, newly forged in this world, a new thing, a new life. And so I guide them. And true, I sometimes have to prune some that turn out to be a weed in the garden. But overall, to be a proper mother, they need to be shown a way, a path.
I mean, that makes sense. While I am not shepherding or watching over any of the thin-blooded, I do try to make sure I do that with my retainers, as it were, the individuals who work underneath me. So
That I understand.
Hmm?
That I understand.
Oh,
It is. We each pick our own way. Not all of the followers that worship here look at it the same way. Some think of the children as children of the Dark Mother. The children of Eve. Some take a lot less liberal view, I guess, of the men among us than I do. Some are a bit more radical, I guess. I try to control them, but part of the whole path is choosing your path. That is, what better service is there to the Dark Mother than to decide your place in the world? What was denied her? A choice. So we make our choices. But it's always important to understand, if you have a weed in your garden that is destructive, well, it should be pruned. But just because it is unrestrained does not always make it a weed, you see?
I think I understand.
And as you're walking, again, it's something is off about this place. I don't know. It seems the winding paths make it feel a lot bigger than it should be. But as she walks to, you find a very small clearing. And there's a tree in front of you, and chained to a tree is a man, naked. His head is slumped, but he's chained to a tree. A weed. A rapist.
Ooh.
You've come at a good night. He's to be pruned.
So he was one of your flock, or are you talking about you're pruning the wider world?
He preyed on a member of my flock.
Uh,
And like any mother, we protect our children.
I can agree with that sentiment.
His blood will nourish the earth, as should be. It returns something to the earth that obviously he did not deserve to have.
Well, not to be forward or blunt, but I am a businesswoman, and seeing as I have not been in I've not been a bohem for a long time. I guess I'm curious what and this is going to sound harsh, I don't mean it as such, it's just, to put it bluntly, I don't know what your sales pitch is. What is it that would be expected of me? What is it that you think, like, what is it to mean to serve underneath Erzule of Chicago?
You would serve under the Dark Mother, not me. As I said, now you would have to find your own path.
Mm.
And I found the path for each one is unique. Some seek out heretics that blaspheme and claim Cain is the true father. And the way she says father, she gets a kind of curl out of her lip. Some avenge those who have wronged others. Bring someone like this here. I tend my children, protect my children, make sure that they flourish. You would have to decide your own fate and your own path on that. But what you would have to do is, of course, come here, be part of the rituals, to show the love of the Dark Mother. We don't demand. Demanding is really their way, not ours.
I understand.
And as she's talking to you,
was-
she walks closer to this man, but she's not paying attention to him at all. She's just moving slowly closer to him.
I was just curious because the whole choosing your own path and doing, that's not so bad. I was more no offense, but I was more expecting the, blood tithes and more pain and more all sorts of things. I'm not comparing you to her, but it's more of that's all I'd known before. So
Yeah.
this is a totally different kind of trying to feel out the situation, if that makes sense.
Well, we each experience pain every day. Why should I have to inflict more? Now, of course, some of our rituals get, how can I explain it? A little extravagant. My Urzule special heightens both pleasure and pain. But day to day, we all go through pain. The pain of being a woman in this world, the pain of existence, the pain of watching the garden ruined, polluted. Why add additional pain to it? I think there's more than enough to teach a lesson, to show, well, the world is wrong. Ever since the day that bastard destroyed her gardens, killed her children, the world has been fallen. She just casually, you see her take something from her waist, and she just casually reaches out and cuts the guy's throat without even really looking his direction.
Oh, that doesn't bother Genevieve.
And you catch her muttering something, but you can't quite hear what she's saying. But it's definitely almost a ritual fashion of what she's saying before she sheathes the dagger. And his blood will nourish the earth, will nourish my garden.
Well, I put a lot of thought into this because I knew this was always going to come to the two paths, as it were. There's the yes path and the no path. It was important for me to hear you out. I've been thinking about it a lot, and it's honestly, with the way that you view it, it's more akin to how I have acted or carried myself in my own life so far. It may not seem like it to some people, but I have. I guess the question is where's the dotted line if I say yes? I mean, what is that? This, I know this I'm having a hard time of vocalizing myself because I don't want to offend you or make the wrong choice, as it were. But I guess if I maintain my autonomy, there isn't really any reason to say no at this point. You're doing kind of what I'm already doing. So
for starters, and she bends down and she gets a piece of the blood-soaked earth between her fingers, and she comes over and touches it to your head. When she touches it to your head, a vision pops in your head of a naked woman standing in the middle of a garden, covered in blood. And it only pops for a second. You have taken your first step. When the moon is full, you will return. And you will be brought before the altar. And there you can become one of us.
okay, I guess I'll come back at the full moon then.
Yes. The moon is important. It's no coincidence that so much is tied to the shifting phases.
Yeah, it's sorry. I've had run-ins with somebody that said they were surprised that I was not howling at the moon because I was a gangrel, and I just kind of gave them a dirty look. But I guess now the moon's important to me, so.
And she laughs. Would you really howl at the moon?
Depends on the situation, but probably not. I mean, if the bet was good enough, maybe, but just
we'll
for
have
fun.
to see. I think, you'll be the first gangrel in our little garden here.
I mean, it's always good to break barriers. Though I will say that there's probably mostly also because there aren't a whole lot of us in the city, so.
No, there's not. And having met Dredd, I doubt he is the type to understand his proper place in society.
I don't know. He probably can't find his proper place, but I've heard that guy's a freak, so.
No, most of our kind are. That's what makes Zule so interesting sometimes.
I guess I'll find out. So.
And she grins. Perhaps you will at one of our little gatherings. And she actually starts walking you back. And as you're walking, you realize definitely not the same way you came in. Every once in a while, you do get a glimpse of where the walls must be covered in vines and with large bushes and hedges. But the pathways through here are done very deliberately to make it seem a lot larger than it is. A lot of crossbacks and doublebacks on the pathway. I will let you know before you leave. Watch out for the painted lady.
The painted lady.
She runs the tattoo shop. She is a bit more extreme in her views.
Okay. So, rival Bahari then?
They do not call themselves that. She calls herself a cultivar, which I think says enough. I think she tends to over-prune. To her, almost everything's a weed.
All right. Well, thank you for the warning. I will keep that under advisement.
I'm glad. Well, I must get down to the basement. I have some rituals to do for already established members, but we will see you when the moon is full.
All right. Well, I will be back then. So.
And she leans in and kisses both your cheeks. And once again, her hand lingers and caresses the top of your hand. But this time, you feel an odd warmth as she does it.
Sorry for the weird question, but is there perhaps another strong female in the city that is part of your flock?
There's a few of us. You noticed what I just did. It is to leave others in our group will be able to feel it. And so we can identify each other.
Okay. Well, I feel like I've come across this handshake, handhold thing before, so that's why I was curious.
Some do it to check.
Actually, it's a neat trick, though. Not trick, sorry. It is a very useful ability, skill. Sometimes my words fail me, so.
Can you believe it? I learned it from a Tremere.
So they are useful for something.
Yes. It's not quite like what they do to barbarism of putting brands on people. But you can serve the same purpose without something as obvious as a permanent scar.
I appreciate that. It's good. My hands are half of my my trade skill, as it were.
Yes, I've heard Something about throwing people out windows.
Oh God, who the hell is spreading this rumor? How is it? It was like once or twice. Okay.
Oh dear. When I invited you here, I did immediately reach out to some friends, some of which I happen to know in Las Vegas.
Oh. Well, I hopefully they had nothing too bad to say about me, considering, like I said, I'll have to inform you of my past at another time. You probably already know, though, since you've been looking into me. So
If it was too bad, you wouldn't have left the garden now, would you?
True. Well, yeah. So I guess since you were looking, did you find Anna Luisa?
Yes, I've found info on her. It is a shame what she did to you.
Well, that's the reason I'm not part of the, you know what? Fixing mistakes of the past, as it were.
But the pain of that led you on this road to here, didn't it?
In its own way, yes.
See? As I said, pain is a learning experience. Perhaps you were destined to be here, just not at that time.
Possibly. We'll find out, though, together in some regards. So.
And she opens the door and leads you back down. And you see her open up another door and she just looks at you and grins. I'll see you soon.
See you. Mother above all, correct?
You don't have to call me that. That is just what our performers call me.
Oh, okay. Well, then I will see you at the full moon, Erzule.
I will see you then. And she closes the door behind her. And as you go to leave, the woman that was out front is not there anymore. As she is no longer out front. And you exit this dark building where all the lights are off. And as you drive back, we're cutting over to Roscoe. You're at your shop with that little blue dust that was left in the baggie.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are you doing with the blue dust?
Well, I was looking at it, and well, I really kind of like to know where it's been and what who the people have been associated with it have been going through.
You're going to Spirits Touch the ash.
I will do that. Yes.
Okay, let's do that. That's a good one to do. Let's roll. Spirits Touch is going to be intelligence all specs. Don't forget your bonus die. Wow. 8 successes. Very nice. Very nice. I don't suppose you worried about willpower in that one.
Oh, I don't know.
You can only willpower one die, but you could willpower one of them. 9 dice. As you touch this, the first thing that hits you is pain. The pain of death. This powder, what little you get of it, definitely was a kindred. You can feel it. The undeath, the unlife taken from them. You get bits and pieces of memories, fragments, even part of a bank code, just touching it. Not enough to be useful. You can feel the euphoria the one who took it felt. But for them, what you can feel, it was a lot stronger. The memories weren't fragments. The memories were almost solid, were complete. Something about you doing it. It's not the same as what the one who took the drug felt. And as you push back with this baggie, because it's been with them for a while, you see that this bag used to be a lot fuller. But addiction had crawled in. And they would not only take the ash, but they would drink blood with it, because it heightened the effect. And as you push back, you hit a wall of something. but you can't quite see around. You don't know why it's blocking part of that. But then you jump. You were a kindred in a box, sleeping during the day. And you woke when the box lid was thrown open. And 4 shadowy figures were above you as they rammed a stake through you. And as you push further and further back, bits and pieces now, emotion. You were definitely kindred before it turned into this drug. But as you go further back, you realize you were an anarch. And based on what you're feeling and what's around you and your successes, you're pretty sure that you were in Indianapolis. And you know you never met the ones who killed you. You were barely even a kindred for 10 years yourself. And then you're back at your body. Pushed back as far as you can. Something about small amount of powder made it difficult to get, even with that many successes, to get much further back than that. But you do realize, based on your successes, 9, if you could get some of the drug that isn't a powder, you could get it in a larger amount. You could probably pull a hell of a lot of things out of it. That residue is concentrated memory.
The bank number that I saw, would I have seen enough of it, say the beginning, to get the routing number of the bank to figure out which bank it was that?
Intelligence and finance. No. No idea.
Okay.
There was a bunch of zeros in it.
Okay.
But you do know you could find out a whole lot if you could get some more of it.
Okay. Well, that's on the list then.
As Roscoe continues, we're actually flashing over to Jackie. You're studying. You're going to also be doing some additional blood sorcery stuff on it, which takes a few days. So we'll have to get back to what you find on that one. Because there's more than Scry the Soul you can do as a Tremere. When you flash to Jackie, you're in your haven when Etienne knocks on your study.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. You're not going to believe this?
What?
I got a response from the French embassy.
Yes.
Passed through already. He's coming.
Good.
I remember him.
Yeah, he embraced my son.
You know he had a thing for you, right?
I'm aware.
You know what they say. Hell hath no fury like a Nosferatu scorned. And he's coming.
That's fine. Hell hath no fury like a mother who wants to protect her child.
They don't give me a date, but by the speed of the response, I wasn't expecting a response for another week or 2. He must have had somebody watching the embassy for messages directly.
Of course. He has sent his prized child.
Etienne actually steps over and he puts his arm around you.
I am actually better than I thought I would be, Etienne. Had a long time to grieve.
It's still hard, ma'am.
Depending on how he presents himself. As far as I'm aware, he does not know who I am.
As I recall, he is arrogant. That's not always a good thing in his favor.
Oh, I know.
But he is also very much an Nosferatu.
I understand, but when he sees my face, it may throw him off.
It may.
I may have to put out a call for some allies.
You might, because when he sees you, if he knows who you are, the beast may end up taking control.
Well, luckily I'm betting an Archon.
You might want his help. I definitely advise you not to meet him alone the first time.
Of course not.
Certainly not with Anton. Or Antoine. Don't.
No. If he is still bitter and realize he had just sent his prize to the one city I'm in, he might destroy him just out of hand, right in front of me.
That's what worries me. What's the odds that he sends him to the city you're in? Let's be fair. Not many people know who you are now. But enough do.
You think he has ins with the upper echelons?
He was always ambitious. He was always connected. I don't know who's a Justicar for his clan now. But he's always been the kind, I can see him doing it on purpose.
Well, we shall see. But I will not meet with him alone.
I doubt he's going to try anything public anyway.
No.
He's a lot of things, but I don't think he's going to start shit in the heart of the Camarilla in the United States.
No.
Even his own Justicar would have to disavow him.
Yes.
I'll reach out to some of my contacts to find out what I can, ma'am.
I appreciate it. Get me all the info you can.
I'll call in some favors I'm owed. I want to find out just where he stands.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually leans in and kisses the top of your head. We'll work it out. We'll figure it out.
We always do.
That's right, ma'am. And this is where I think we're going to end. Episode 1 is Season 8, everybody. Windy City After Dark. We're back. And I think we started off with a gusto this season. Emotions up and down and up and down. And I'd like to thank my players and our special guest, Gray, for that emotional scene in the first half. And us ending on an emotional scene. This has been a hell of an episode. Of course, if you like what we're doing, you want to talk about the game, pop over our Discord. So you know, well, we cast our shows from the Discord. And that's where you can meet all these great players, sometimes get to be in our games. I believe we've got a one-shot still open, a casting call for a vampire one-shot. Well, potentially a one-shot, might be two-shot or three-shot. It all depends on if they can solve the story in one shot or not. Who knows? But check our Discord, come hang out. We do weekly Zoom hangouts where we just talk with people. We also play non-streamed games. We got in on some good Blood on the Clock Tower lately. So come join the Discord. If you want to catch our back episodes, YouTube. Check out our back episodes. Got all the YouTube there for us and for Tiss, who does our Call of Cthulhu. If you want to check out amazing content creators like Mischievous Red and the Ivy Raven, give them a follow here on Twitch. You got their channels right there in chat over here. I forget which side. It's over here. It's over here somewhere. Just checked it out. You want to get you some merch? Get us some Windy City merch. I'd love to say that we've managed to get our merch updated, but we didn't because we needed some downtime between seasons.
Yes, we did. And this coterie really feels like Lamar is still part of the coterie. We're just waiting for Gavin to be able to come back and play.
Yep. I mean, he's missed. Bits and donations, they go to the players, not to the studio. So if you want to give something to the players of this amazing stream, please, bits and donations go to them. If you want to support the studio, subscribe on Twitch or pop over to our coffee. That goes to the studio for Berlin and I, so you can buy us, something to eat once in a while maybe. But bits and donations are for the players so that just to show your appreciation.
Buy me a Dunkin' coffee and the snack and bacon. I love the snack and bacon at Dunkin'.
Yeah, because you can get a Dunkin' coffee and snack and bacon
for the
about
price of one Starbucks.
And as Berlin found out, Dunkin' even does pumpkin spice.
Yes, they do.
Everyone
And
does
it's
pumpkin
delicious.
And of course, now I turn it over to my wife for the schedule.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for the premiere of Season 8 of Windy City After Dark. Coming up over the next week, we actually do not have anything scheduled because Dr. Tiss is taking off for the month because she's moving. So
jealous.
I am too.
I'm not going to out where she's moving
No,
to,
but
she's
oh
moving
my
and I'm jealous.
God. I'm going to have to visit her at some point, just because I've always wanted to go there. So we will be back next Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern for episode 2 of Windy City After Dark Season 8. So join us on the Discord to hang out with us. We do, like Shanky said, Zoom chats, and we chat about all kinds of stuff in our Discord so that over the next week you can tell us what you loved about the session. We'll see you there.
Yep. And as always, everybody, mental health, it's not a joke. It's not a laughing matter. We take mental health very seriously at this channel. Please check in on those around you. Make sure they're okay. And just be reach out, be that friendly voice that people need. And if you suffer from mental health issues, like many people do, reach out to those around you. But sometimes you don't feel you can. A lot of people, they don't want their friends to know. And while I disagree with that generally, if you feel that way, that's fine. In chat right now is a list of numbers you can call or text 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, so that you don't have to talk to people that you know. You could talk to people who are trained to talk you through the problems you're going through and to help you deal with it. Because everybody, mental health is important, and we take it very seriously around here. And we want you all to do well. And now I'll turn it over to my wife for her final thoughts.
I've got a few things. I'm going to try to keep it as brief as I can. Of course, we're still dealing with the shockwave of after effects of the overturning of Roe versus Wade. And women and even children are being irreparably harmed, including pregnant women in Alabama being detained, arrested, detained, supposedly for their benefit, to help them because they supposedly use drugs while pregnant and they're trying to get them in facilities, is what they say. But one of those women literally, when she found out she was pregnant, smoked a joint and got reported to police. She didn't qualify for the residential treatment for addiction because they found no just cause for addiction. But they're still detaining her. Well, they were. She actually did get a judge to get her released. But she was actually sleeping on the floor while being detained, pregnant. This is what's happening in Alabama, y'all. And 10-year-olds are being forced to have children. That will, if they survive it, that will probably irreparably harm their reproductive organs to where they'll probably never be able to have children again. And you're forcing adulthood on children, just saying. It's just bad. And not to mention grown-ass women nearly dying because of this. And so, vote blue for that. But also, I want to say, I found an interesting fact today. historically, throughout human civilization, anthropologists and archaeologists have found that about 25% of humans were trans, intersex, or queer. 25%. Our puritanical society doesn't allow for that. And so we have people committing suicide and getting harassed and getting murdered for being different, when that's just part of the human condition. Vote blue again, because LGBTQIA lives matter too. They are just as human as the rest of us. Black lives matter. Indigenous lives and sovereignty matters. Please. Don't just take care of yourself, but think about others too. Because no one gets through this life alone. Said with love.
And fuck Putin. Not done. I'm still saying fuck Putin.
And fuck Trump. He's a criminal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hope they get him with the Espionage Act and murder his ass.
I've worked in the defense industry, and if I take classified documents home, I go to jail. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I've got to say. I've worked in the defense industry before. You take classified docs, you go to jail. That's just...
Oh, no. If you're guilty of treason, you're murdered.
Well, that's just a rule. Other than that, I do thank you all for coming. I hope you enjoyed this season premiere. We're starting off with a bang with some pretty big shit going down, and I don't plan to let off on the tension this whole season. They had a nice relaxing season last season compared to some of the others. Tension's coming back up, everybody. Roscoe's getting that look on his face. Yep, because he knows some of it's going to be his. So I do thank you all for coming. Good night, everybody.